one more time in 2024 and on Peacock with NBC Sports. We welcome you to the finale of INDY NXT by Firestone and the Music City Grand Prix from Nashville Superspeedway. There was a lot of concern about whether we would be racing this weekend, but look at that. There are some clouds, but lots of blue skies and sunshine, and we are ready to go. Thank you so much for joining us today and all season long. I'm Kevin Lee along with Charlie Kimball. Before we get started, let's celebrate a champion. Louis Foster has already wrapped it up, and he looks like the future is very bright for him.
100%. He started off a little rough, picked up momentum, took control of this championship, won 7 out of 10 races in a row, really put his stamp on that championship and put his hand on that trophy with a race in hand.
And he is now able to clearly think about IndyCar next year, and he's got a nice resume to do that as well. When you look at where he stacks up on the all-time win list, you've got legends like Greg Moore and young superstars like Kyle Kirkwood. But look at this, one more win, and he ties our friend Paul Trace. He's already even with Pato O'Ward, and he passed the great Townsend Bell with that last win.
An incredible year so far for Louis. It's a little bit of a victory lap here for him, but he's starting on pole due to a little bit of weather yesterday.
So what kind of chances does he have for next year? Here's a look at the seats, almost a dozen. The Ganassi thing is a little bit complicated. We think that's probably going to be filled, but the others may have already made a commitment, but they haven't announced it yet. There are at least still 4 or 5 that I know are not set.
And a lot of great opportunities for young drivers, including the scholarship that Louis Foster is able to bring from the NTT to the NTT IndyCar Series from the INDY NXT by Firestone Championship. It's a great ladder series. It develops these drivers and gets them ready to move up to those big cars.
So we will look forward to seeing Louis Foster in IndyCar next year, and we look forward to seeing a championship develop in 2025. For more, let's head down to the grid and welcome in DJ Clark.
Well, good morning, Charlie. Good morning, Kevin. It's a beautiful day here in Nashville, and it's a beautiful day for Caio Collet. Caio, you're rolling off third here, but let's start by talking about 2025. Recently announced you're coming back to INDY NXT next year with HMD Motorsports, making an eye on that championship.
Yeah, I'm super excited to come back. I think obviously it was a big learning year for me this year with HMD. And I'm very grateful for them for the opportunity to continue in 2025 and to everyone that make it happen. So yeah, really grateful, and hopefully we can enjoy the last round in 24 and prepare 25.
All right, let's focus in on the track here today. We've seen a lot of problems, particularly coming through turn 4. What are some of the tips of the trade here to get around this very, very difficult superspeedway?
Yeah, it will be a long race. I think it's hotter than we've practiced and hotter than what we've been during the test as well when we tested here, so it will be a little bit of the unknown, and obviously, as you said, turn 4 is quite tricky with the bump, so hopefully we'll make out and survive the whole race and finish on the podium.
All right, well, we'll be wishing that for you. That's Caio Collet, guys.
Yeah, certainly he is an early championship favorite in 2025. So Charlie, let's talk about the challenge that Caio and everyone else faces today with, is it a short oval? It's a super speedway. It's less than 1.5 miles. And then you got this bump here over the tunnel that caught a lot of people out in the early practice.
It was very different from the testing situations. We had 3 different incidents over that bump. Christian Brooks there, Salvador de Alba, just hitting that bump, bottoming out, making contact in that wall. You know, being a full concrete 1.3 mile racetrack, it's very challenging.
Very different type of circumstance, and this may be the best experience to prepare these drivers for the Indianapolis 500, pushing over 185 miles per hour at times. All right, drivers are strapped in, and we're ready for the command.
24 INDY NXT Championship. Race fans, it's time to fire the engines for the INDY NXT by Firestone Music City Grand Prix. Here's your Grand Marshal, guest of Firestone, Jonathan Warnbrode, to give the command.
Drivers, start your engines.
Set to go for the final time in 24. Let's see how they are going to line up today in this 1.3 mile oval. They did not finish qualifying before it started raining yesterday, so reverting to entrant points. So It's not driver points, it's entrant points, and that plays in a couple of times. But Louis Foster up front again in the Copart Novara Technologies car, and then the Abel construction car of Jacob Abel on his outside.
And on row 2, Caio Collet, we spoke with, re-signing with HMD for next year, running the Combitrans Amazonia car. Christian Brooks in that Deploy Surveillance HMD car. 7 races, 7 top 10s.
Callum Edge is looking to come back next year. He's in the Honda Racing Corporation machine. Salvador de Alba Jr. in the Group O IndyCar will be returning with Andretti.
Jamie Chadwick, a Road America race winner, is talking about returning with Andretti next year in that Vext Andretti number 28. Nolan Aller moving into the number 10 car for HMD with Martini on the side of that, replacing Reese Gold this weekend.
Yeah, unfortunately, Reese took a hit a couple of weeks ago and is unable to go today. The Top Con car is James Rowe and his Andretti teammate Bryce Aaron in the Jaguar Land Rover of Chesterfield machine.
Inside of row 6, Yuvan Sundaramurthy running that Optima Batteries car for Able Motorsports. He's got some top 10 on ovals, and Miles Rowe in the Force Indy numbered 99 HMD cars, rebounding from some problems this year.
Row 7 is Christian Bogle in the Pelican Energy machine and the Hover Energy car of Jonathan Brown, who's had a solid rookie season in Indy Next.
Josh Pearson inside of row 8, running that Open Context HMD Motorsports car, the number 14, and Jack William Miller outside of row 8, the Haven Go Patterson Dental car for Miller Vinatieri.
And the final row is Michael D. Orlando, who's back for the first time since Road America. He had a lot of success early in the Flat Rock Motorsports Park car, and Taylor Ferns in the Bradford Allen car in the final spot. And a steering wheel issue is what's being reported for Jacob Abel. You see the quick switch there, so hopefully they can keep him going. We will see if he gets to retake his front row starting position. All right, it's time for Kimball's Keys.
Yeah, today is really about a Louis Foster victory lap. He clinched the championship. He gets to go out, start on front. He'd love to move up that wins list. And this track here in Tennessee is Tennessee Tough. It's fully concrete. It's 1.33 miles. There's that big bump over in turn 4. It's caught some drivers out. It races like a super speedway, drives a lot of times like a show oval at the same time, so it's going to be challenging for these guys.
So Jacob Abel is going to go from the front row to the last row because he is just ahead of this field, and the plan is to go green this next time by as they head down the backstretch into turn 3. One thing that Jacob Abel will have going for him is he's going to have warm Firestones as he crosses the start-finish line. Now, pace car is off. Lined up, ready to go. The championship is decided, but there is a win at stake. And trying to find your place for 2025, whether it be IndyCar, Indy Next. Let's go one more time from the Nashville Superspeedway. It's a clear jump for Louis Foster as the only car in the front row. Caio Collet in that green and black car is in second, but there is a battle for that position.
Trying to go 2 wide, 3 wide through 1 and 2, coming down looking. Salvador de Alba inside Caio Collet into turn 3.
And that's Christian Brooks after a crash. That is a fully white car that we haven't seen. That's the white car on the outside going around into second position.
It'll be really interesting to see how these cars run and develop. They haven't done a lot of long stints on these Firestone tires. Really great momentum for Caio Collet on the outside of Christian Brooks, coming off 2, going into 3.
Collet trying to go around the long way. Salvador de Alba Jr. in the red and green car right behind him. That is still Brooks on the low side. Collet gets the spot.
And once he clears him, he wants to get down. It is the preferred line on the bottom. Christian Brooks tucked right up behind Salvador de Alba, moving half a lane up in that Andretti Cape Motorsports car, trying to get some clean air. Up front, though, Louis Foster running away from this train of Caio Collet, Christian Brooks, Salvador de Alba, and Callum Hedge.
Meanwhile, in the back, Jacob Abel caught up to the pack. He's already picked up a spot. So we'll watch him try to move through the field. Side by side, the battle still continues on for second. Foster is clear by over a second. Brooks in that white car moves back up into third. So it's Collet, Brooks, de Alba Jr., second, third, fourth. Down to DJ.
Yeah, Kevin, as you mentioned earlier with Jacob Abel, it was a steering wheel issue. It just wouldn't lock into place for the number 51. Thankfully, they got it fixed with him coming back down into pit lane, but this is not the start the driver from Kentucky wanted.
There's nothing scarier on an oval when you're doing over 180 miles an hour than the steering wheel not being solid in the car. It's something you really really want to be secure. So good, smart choice to come in, get that change before the start of the race here.
I know Jacob wanted to finish up the season with a 4th win, and he could. Certainly a caution would help that cause along, but the good thing is that he is safe, 2nd in the championship. It has been a great season for Jacob Abel, who is looking to IndyCar, and I'm hearing his name mentioned as a distinct possibility for next year. Side by side a little further back, the battles continue. 28 car is
Jamie Chadwick running right behind Callum Hedge there.
Yeah, the black car is Hedge.
And that's Sundermore in that Optima Batteries car. A little bit of momentum shift coming off the corner there. Dirty air, clean air, trying to forecast long ways down the racetrack of what's going to happen. Jacob Abel still trying to make up spots. He's picked up 2 positions. They're still running side by side up front, but he has the fastest lap of the race so far. He's got a really good race car. He just has to pick his way through all this traffic.
That Gold car, normally fielded by Reese Gold, has been the Ticket Clinic car. Now it's the Martini car. It's good to have Nolan Aller back. We're disappointed about the circumstances and hope that we hear an all clear for Reese Gold, and we look forward to seeing him back next year. But Aller from the Detroit area did really well. This is a big jump for him this season, coming up to this level after running in the SCCA series, mostly coming up. There's Josh Pearson, that green car, trying to work on Christian Bogle, trying to get a spot up in the 12th, and gets it done. But this has been a nice job so far for Nolan Aller, who got a better starting position. Otherwise, remember, entrant points. So it's what Reese Gold did that allowed him to start in the middle of the pack instead of the back. And this is the very first oval race for Nolan Aller. He's just here to learn. So far, so good.
Yeah, he's doing great. He does have Jacob Abel just a couple of spots behind him, trying to pick his way back through, and Josh Pearson working on him as well. But back up front, even Sundermore and Callum Hedge running side by side into 3. We weren't sure a second lane was going to develop, but these guys are able to these drivers doing a great job running side by side. That was close.
Miles Rowe looked inside. It got taken away by Callum Hedge, so Rowe had momentum, and he's still going to try to sweep around the outside. And they touch, but Rowe hangs on to it.
You gonna run on them here?
And Hedge is going to back way out and lose 5-6 spots. And does he have damage?
I would bet he's got a flat tire. Those 2 cars crashed.
They down on me.
They just didn't hit anything.
Let's see what happened. Rowe had looked low. He ends up high. And I think you heard Hedge say he just turned down on me. He was hoping it was clear. Did Hedge drift up? Did Rowe come down?
If I'm race control, I'm looking at the 99. He obviously was not clear of the 17 car for Callum Hedge. Came down, made contact. They were both lucky to get away with that. Obviously, Callum Hedge with the damage coming to pit lane.
You haven't seen him much because he's not racing anyone, but Louis Foster is 3 seconds in front. He is all by his lonesome. Kyle Collette is settled in second. Then that battle with Yuvan Sundermore, charging up to 3rd. So they did half of the field qualifying yesterday, and when it started raining, Sundermore was provisional pole. Now it's reverse order from championship points, so there were still strong cars coming. But the point being, Sundermore was good and was looking to have an opportunity to start better than where he is in the championship, but he's made it up. He's up there in a podium position now.
And he's got a couple of seconds to be able to catch up to the next car in line, that Kyle Collette, who's still got 3 seconds to try and chase down Louis Foster. Louis Foster today doing exactly what he's done all year. Get up front, stay up front, disappear up front.
Along with Callum Hedge on pit lane, Taylor Ferns has rolled down to the pit lane. DJ, tell us what's going on with the Hedge car.
Well, he rolled in about a minute ago, and the number 17, all mechanics pointing to that right front suspension. It looks like they've got an arm that they've got to need to change here at this point. They're doing it as quick as they can. They want to get Hedge back out onto the track.
Yeah, he's still learning, especially on ovals. He's done a nice job, though, this season on the ovals. He told me I just watched onboards from Rasmussen last year and tried to replicate what he was doing. And that worked for him in Iowa. There's Brooks in that white car still leading that pack of 4th, 5th, 6th. He had a nasty crash in the first practice, so that's why you see a different look at the Christian Brooks cars. They had, I don't know honestly whether that is a different car or whether it's just been body pieces reattached to the car, but there was significant damage. Rowe rolls down the pit lane. I believe there's been no action taken. There is going to be no action taken, but Rowe may have picked up some damage too. So now we have 3 on the pit lane. DJ, what do you know about Miles Rowe?
His way, but there is a left rear tire on Miles Rowe. He is back out and on his way after a quick change from the HMD camp.
Makes sense. Left rear to right front. And this is the battle for 6th, 7th, and 8th as Bryce Aaron looks outside, comes inside. These are all teammates in this group. De Alba is in the Kate Motorsports car, but it's an Andretti with Kate partnership, so they work together. And part of that original announcement at the beginning of the year is that he would move into one of the primary Andretti cars for next season.
He showed really good pace, really good maturity this year. Talking to some of his driver coaches and team members, and they felt like his racecraft was really good. They just needed to get him to qualify a little further up.
Let's check in on James Rowe in that Top Con car right there, blue and white. Running in 5th, trying to chase down Christian Brooks while trying to hold off Jamie Chadwick. Let's listen to what James Rowe is being told.
Just got to watch the runs. If you're closing the gap, you got to pick your moments. Be in control of when the gap's closed and decide where you're going to go. Don't get caught out like that again.
Peter Dempsey helping him, the team principal of Turn 3 Motorsports in the USF Pro 2000 Championship and a former Indy Lights winner. James has also had Robert Wickens advising him, helping him with the mental approach to the game. Robbie told me he's been really impressed with not only James Rowe's off-track hustle to put the commercial partners together, but really just his drive to, you know this, Charlie, you've got to work hard just to get the chance to drive race cars as we see side by side. And how close do you want it? The white car of Brooks on the low side, Rowe on the outside. They are hooked up together. Rowe noses in front, but he's not clear yet. Now he is.
Well, it's big momentum shift. Jamie Chadwick caught out by the dirty air behind Christian Brooks, and here comes De Alba looking on Chadwick.
When you give up a spot, you give up more.
De Alba,
more with De Alba looking to the left at Brooks. Let's watch how close this gets.
that high line in 1 and 2 working really well. Christian Brooks pinned to the bottom, not able to get the momentum.
You're clear.
I find this, I know these cars are not going as fast and there's more downforce, but the Indy NXT drivers told me you couldn't go in the high lane. This may be a precursor of, we might see some action in the IndyCar race today at 3 o'clock on NBC to decide the championship.
For drivers that are looking to come back next year, it's a great chance to continue to learn. Oh, down on the apron. That is Christian Bogle with his hands full. Jacob Abel still trying to recover from that steering wheel issue at the start. But it's a last chance for these drivers to prove their abilities to team owners in the INDY NXT by Firestone Series, or if they're looking to move up to IndyCar team owners.
Foster continues to deal with lap traffic. He just has come upon Jack William Miller now, trying to put him a lap down. So we're down to, or soon will be, 13 on the lead lap. Miller is in 14th, trying to hang on as long as he can. Foster will go by.
It's another Louis Foster kind of drive here today. His 2024 season has been a lot like that. Drive out, catch traffic, go by traffic.
Aller, that yellow or gold and black car. Also trying to deal with the quicker cars coming by as he continues to learn on the oval. The Optima Batteries car, Newman Sunderworthy running in third, clears him. Let's talk about HMD with AJ Smith and DJ Clark.
AJ Smith with HMD. Let's start off with the number 39. Obviously a pretty big lick yesterday. You told me earlier that is a backup chassis. What kind of work went into getting that car prepared for today?
Well, we actually prepared that car at the shop, so it was all set up before we even got here. All we had to do was adjust pedals, put a different set of seat belts in the car for the driver, and we were ready to go. We just decided the 39 car took a pretty good shot, and the electronics all got knocked out of the front of the tub. So rather than come out for practice too, we only had 2 hours to turn the thing around. We didn't want to take any chances.
It's a smart play. And now let's talk about Caio Collet running in second here at this point. You looking ahead up at Louis Foster, or are you more worried about protecting that gap from behind to Sunderworthy?
At this point, I don't think anybody but Superman could beat Louis Foster. So we got to get the best finish we can out of this and move on to next year.
All right. Thanks so much, AJ. We'll let you get back to it.
I like the honesty. I think he's...
And that's
right.
not his driver, right? That's another team's driver. And AJ going recognizing game there.
Well, this has been an impressive season for Andretti because the championship has been dominated by HMD the last couple of years. And then there's what Able Motorsports has been able to do. It's been Jacob Abel's program where they have been adding drivers. And here's Yuvan Sunderworthy making a charge, trying to move up to second, battling Caio Collet as they try to navigate their way through the blue car of Jack William Miller. Collet will hang on to the spot right now, but Sunderworthy is on the charge from where he started in this race, again by entry points. He has gone from 11th to 3rd.
It's a really great drive from Yuvan. Very mature, moving his way through that chaos at the beginning and the start of the race. Now chasing down Caio Collet. I think he's got the faster car. He tried to use Jack William Miller as a pick there. He wasn't successful. And they're still going side by side in a big pack a little further back.
Green and black car is Pearson. Oh, so close with Christian Bogle. That's Abel right in front of them. You know he's likely got a quick car. We didn't see it be able to qualify, but he's been consistently quick on the ovals this year. But Abel has been only after he had the steering wheel issue at the start. Started about a half a lap down. Still trying to make his way forward. Working on Jonathan Brown right now, but mired back in 11th position.
Yeah, and Jacob Abel still trying to put something together in IndyCar. We go back to Yuvan on the inside of Caio Collet into 1 and 2. I think he's going to clear him here. That's a great move. Continuing his charge forward. He's got 2 seconds to track down Louis Foster. He's got a really fast race car, running faster laps than Louis.
And Yuvan has not finished as high as second before. He's been on the podium on an oval Worldwide Technology Raceway. He's finished 4th a couple of times at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. Looking to finish it off with a second stop on the podium this year today.
Got no draft. He's not going to have any draft for a while, so nice and smooth. Just inch your way up on him.
That's conversation to Yuvan Sunderworthy about chasing down Louis Foster. He's got his best position so far this season, but he's thinking he wants more. He wants to chase down Louis Foster and try and steal that win away.
I like the fact that he's able to stay within a couple of seconds when we frankly thought that Louis might really run away with this race. I think this shows well for what Sunderworthy and Collet are doing with their oval transgression and just their learning curve. This has been an impressive performance for them today. DJ.
Yeah, I just had the chance to talk to Able Motorsports about Yuvan, and he is, to use their phrase, cruising right now. He's got a lot of speed in that number 22, and I'd keep an eye on that gap. He may just be able to catch our reigning champion.
By the way, he is one of those that is confirmed for next year. Yuvan will return to Able Motorsports. They're looking to run maybe up to 4 cars. That's still TBD, but certainly the goal is at least 3 next year.
This short track Superspeedway producing some great side-by-side racing. We weren't really expecting that. A lot of drivers saying they weren't comfortable running the second lane. That was a really, really bold crossover there. Bryce Aaron on Christian Brooks. Brooks able to hang around the outside. That's pretty impressive with this concrete surface. and that banking, that second lane we thought would just be too slippery.
So Charlie, I've said recently I've stopped asking. I'm going to stop listening to drivers tell me what they think the racing will be like, because everyone said that, oh, this race is going to be processional for Indy NXT. We've heard the last 2 oval events for IndyCar there'll be no passing, and they've been awesome. You guys are highly pessimistic, and what I remember and what I remind myself of is one thing about practice. You don't have to pass in practice, but when you guys put the visor down in a race, logic sometimes is not a part of it. You get aggressive, and that's what we're seeing again today as the side-by-side battles continue.
These guys are putting on a great show for us. And you're right, as drivers, we maybe think we can't pass, and then we get to the race and you have to pass and you find a way. You figure it out.
So Miles Rowe making his way through, but unfortunately he's a couple of laps down after he had the puncture with contact earlier in the race. Callum Hedge was involved in that. He's many laps down, and look at this traffic right here.
Nolan Aller way up high, coming off a 4, keeps it off the wall. When you get up in the marbles like that, it is worse than driving on ice at 180 miles an hour. You have your hands full trying to keep that. And that momentum shift, he got 2 cars going underneath him. He got high. It was all he could do. Just a little misstep with getting passed by faster traffic.
Look at Michael D'Orlando. First time he's done an oval race, started in the back, it's entrant points. He has worked his way up to 8th. Partner for this race, Flat Rock Motorsports Park. It's about an hour and 45 minutes east of here, a little bit west of Knoxville. It's a new motorsports country club that has had a bit of a soft opening for members, so I'm looking forward to seeing that in the near future. But Michael, he was top 5 in the championship before budget went away. Before the midpoint of the season, and getting a chance to learn to try to build on 25 today. And what a job he's doing, and he's still putting pressure on that. He's dealing with some lap traffic here, but this is all great experience with quick cars like Miles Rowe and Callum Hedge.
And Jacob Abel still working his way up. He's chasing down Michael D'Orlando, Jamie Chadwick. And I think D'Orlando is going to try and draft off the lap car Miles Rowe to catch up to Jamie Chadwick and see if he can get some help drafting to get a little further up the order.
Jonathan Brown working on Josh Pearson. There's the leader. He's been comfortable, but he is not totally pulled away. Fast laps, still Jacob Abel has the fastest lap, then Miles Rowe, then James Rowe, then Ewan Sunworthy, and then Michael D'Orlando. So if there were a caution, now you see how close that is. We're talking hundredths of a second, and I don't suspect that Louis Foster is really pushing it right now. He's got more in reserve if he needs it. But it could get interesting if caution were to tighten things up. Pearson coming down to the low side. They're 2 by 2. And not everybody is on the same lap fighting each other right here.
Christian Brooks, Josh Pearson, Jonathan Brown, all running together. Christian Bogle there, and our leader is not far behind this train.
Brown is still trying to find his way through. The 24-year-old from Ireland in his first season at this top step of the ladder to get to IndyCar. Has finished as high as 6th this season, 7th place finish. All about learning. They're optimistic about being able to try to put a program together for next year too. Brown there running in 12th. Did a nice job staying on the lead lap. Bogle right behind him in the blue Pelican Energy car. Let's check in with DJ.
Yeah, Kevin, I just chatted a little bit with Andretti Global and wanted to talk about Jamie Chadwick because it seemed like her pace was a little bit fluctuating here today. And they told me it's just the nature of this kind of racing that if you lift out for even a mile an hour, just lose that, you're going to be off pace for about a lap or two. And Charlie, I'm sure you can attest to that, having run at tracks like this before.
Absolutely. When you're running these road course wings on what is technically a short track, it's 1.33 miles, but it races like a speedway. When you come out of that throttle a little bit, it's like throwing out the parachute, and you lose so much momentum. You see these big momentum shifts. You've seen cars run up to the back of and go by cars that have to lift from dirty air in front. That's all about managing the energy and managing the momentum around these high banks, concrete high banks here at the Nashville Superspeedway.
What's different about concrete compared to asphalt from the driver's perspective and the engineering perspective?
It can be a little more aggressive on the tires. Firestone worked really hard to come up with a tire that would be... Sorry, we're just seeing...
That's the leader Foster on the low side, working his way through Jonathan Brown. The origin black car is the 26 of Louis Foster. Gets through one, now working on Josh Pearson. Clear there too.
That got very exciting and very nerve-wracking, but the surface can be harder on the tires. Firestone, their corporate headquarters just down the road here in Nashville, the engineering department out of Akron, they do a great job building safe, competitive
You got a yellow here, back it down east.
We got a caution out.
Hopefully nothing significant, but we see now Jamie Chadwick looks like she's lost control. Oh, and now is going into a slide. Hang on to it, keep it out of the wall.
That left front's broken. The steering's broken. I don't know if there was contact. We'll look back and see what's going on there, but looked like the left front and the right front were pointed towards each other, which is never ideal.
Well, we see Jack William Miller coming down the pit lane. Let's see if he got caught up in that as well. Jamie had just fallen off the lead.
All right, guys.
Not too long ago. Finished what I think has been a really positive season for Jamie Chadwick. Year 2, I kind of count this as year 1. It was a big step from the W Series to Indy Next last year. And she's still got a bright future. Let's see what happened. It is the 40 of Jack William Miller and Chadwick. Chadwick is on the low side. Miller was in front.
What a save from Jamie to keep that thing out of the wall. Extremely impressive, especially with that right front toe link broken. She does an amazing job to keep that off the wall and not create a bigger incident.
Jamie's got a test in an IndyCar coming up at Barber Motorsports Park, and that will help her decide what she wants to do from next year. What I gather, very strong chance that this is just a test the waters type of situation and likely to come back. I think it would serve her well to come back in Indy Next, but you never know. Maybe it goes really, really well when we start thinking about it. The problem is there's no room at Andretti for IndyCar for next year. And coming back for one more year, she would legitimately be a contender for the championship.
As a race winner already this year. She's done an amazing job, worked really hard in the gym over the offseason last year. Be able to hold on to these big, heavy cars. I think she's inside there. We'll see what race control, if race control looks at that. It's semi-self-policing, both cars involved in the incident. She's down below, and Jack William Miller trying to get to the yellow line. She saves it high, he saves it low. So that's twice we've had incidents and no one's gotten to the wall, which is really impressive on an oval.
So now that comfortable 3-second gap for Louis Foster has gone away, trying to finish off the season with not only his 8th win, but 8 out of the last 11 after he was solid to start the season, but not winning races, but never panicked. Knew he had strengths in the schedule for him, namely ovals, coming up a little later on in the season. Just bided his time and then took over the championship. But Sundermorthy has been quick today. What can Kyle Collette do or anybody else? IndyCar's coming up later on this afternoon here on Peacock and also on NBC. Live sports on NBC today, so I'll just leave you this tip. Keep it on NBC. Keep it on Peacock. You never know what the schedule is. Maybe we come on a few minutes early. Peacock is always your safe bet for that. But 3 o'clock Eastern time, green flag at 3:30. The championship, yes, it's 33 points coming in, but Will Power there is starting on the second row, and you're going to have to scan through here for a while before you see the championship leader. Alex Palou is starting 24th. He qualified 15th, but had to change the engine before the weekend over the limit, a 9-grid penalty. He starts 24th. When you see that points as they run graphic we like to throw up, When the race starts, it will effectively be only a 7-point lead for Palou in the championship as they run, so he cannot just ride around. For Will Power, there is a scenario where he could finish third, but really he needs to finish second, gives him a chance. Winning the race, Alex Palou has to finish ninth, and that is far from a given.
Yeah, it's been an upside-down weekend. A little bit, some rain, final practice last night. Maybe not super indicative of what the racetrack is going to be like today. It's already getting hotter than it was even yesterday. The track temp up close to 100 degrees. Coming to one to go, finish this out with 8 laps to go here in the final Indy NXT by Firestone race, the Music City Grand Prix.
And here inside, final 10 laps of the race, we get late in the race. Lap cars are moved out of the way, so this is going to be the running order. Foster, Sunderworthy, Collette, Rowe, De Alba Jr., Aaron, D'Orlando, the great day today. Abel, now he's got that reset. How many more spots can he get? Brooks, Pearson, Bogle, Brown. By the way, lead lap cars, 9 right now. Brooks is back on the lead lap. Multiple laps down. Miller still in the race. Fowler still in the race. 2 down. And we go again. 7 to go from Nashville Superspeedway. Does anyone have anything for Louis Foster? 3, maybe 4 wide further back. That's D'Orlando trying to go around the high side, trying to pick up some more spots. Working on Bryce Aaron.
Jacob Abel tried the high side, couldn't get it to work. Now tries to cover the low side. They're still side by side going into 3.
Pearson, a lap down, is going to go to the inside of Jacob Abel. And side by side behind Matt Brooks, who is on the lead lap, has slipped a bit on the restart. As they continue to race side by side. And by the way, the lead is separated by less than 0.2 of a second. Here is De Alba on Bryce Aaron for 5th right now. Aaron coming back to the inside. No, not this time. Let's check in real quick with DJ.
Down here on pit lane with Jamie Chadwick. Jamie, obviously not where you wanted to be with this race still running. What happened out there?
Just going for a move on the inside on a back marker, and he came down and put me on the apron, and that's the end of that. I'd love to say we're having a great race. Until then we weren't really. I think we had decent pace. Our cars are really strong. Wasn't moving through the traffic quite as quick as I should have been, so I think a top 5 is possible today. That would have been nice to end the year on a high. This year's been a great year, and I've had a great time with the team. Like I say, it would have been nice to have shown that with a good result today, which wasn't to be.
All right, well, that's Jamie Chadwick, guys.
Some paperwork, drive-throughs for Jack William Miller and Miles Rowe for failure to heed IndyCar direction. And look at this. Yuven Sunderworthy with that reset with a caution is right on the gearbox of Louis Foster with 3 to go. Foster trying to finish off the championship in style. Sunderworthy looking for a first win in his rookie year at Indy NXT, and he's right there.
He has been working the draft off Louis Foster, running high, running low, trying to find a way past to get right up on Louis' gearbox. Louis got really good pace and a little better restart, but Yuven Sunderworthy is not giving up. Coyote Collette having to hold off James Rowe just behind for the final podium spot.
More paperwork. Stop and hold for the 40 of Jack William Miller. Stop and hold for 30 seconds for the contact with Chadwick from a bit ago. But this is the story right here as we come to the final white flag of the season. Louis Foster has gapped it a little bit. Does Sunderworthy have anything else? Regardless, it's been a fantastic drive for the graduate of the University of Wisconsin in his first season. Kyle Collette has done what he needs to do today. Gain experience, run up front on ovals. He's running in 3rd. Sunderworthy is still coming. A couple of more chances left. Louis Foster, final corner. What a season it's been. Louis Foster caps off his championship season in style. Win number 8 for Louis Foster as Michael Andretti watches on and thinks about the future.
Drive of the day to Yuven Sunderworthy. Started in the back on entrant points, moved up all the way to the front, 9 positions. Took it to our 2024 Indy NXT champion, Louis Foster. Couldn't get it done, and Kyle Collette finishing out the podium. Kayo's coming back next year, and that consistency is only going to help his championship run.
Michael's probably thinking, boy, I wish I still had that 4th entry. I'd like to have Foster. Hey, you never know. We saw that before. Kyle Kirkwood, there was no room for him a few years ago. He did a season with AJ Foyt Racing, but it was always in the plans. You're coming back here as soon as we have a spot, and that's do some donuts for Louis Foster now. Well deserved. What a season it has been. And he is mature beyond his years. He didn't turn 21 until this season, in the summertime. Unofficial results. Race control was busy today. A 9 finish on the lead lap in what turned out to be a really entertaining race. I think you can look at everybody that did lead lap performances today and say job well done, because this had to be difficult racing.
It was very challenging, side by side on the concrete high banks here in Nashville, and everyone did a really nice job. Lots of experience, lots of learning. Really great race today, and as you said, race control was a little busy, but these drivers are learning where to push the bounds in these cars.
Great job by Yuvan Sunworthy. New branding that we saw debut in Milwaukee for Wisconsin-based Optima batteries. Combitron's car. I told you before that that's one of the confirmations we have for next year, that Kayo Collette is back with HMD, certainly a championship contender. That young man, Yuvan Sunworthy, needs to be in the mix with Able Motorsports too. And Louis Foster will update the resume just a little bit more as he continues to chat with IndyCar teams. He said he's had positive conversations with about 4. Not close to anything at this point because it's too early. There's a domino process. It's going to start with people like Alexander Rossi. Where is he going to end up? And many, many more, with about a dozen seats that are not confirmed. But that's for another day. It is time to enjoy what has been a magnificent breakthrough season for Louis Foster. 2nd championship in America. He won the USF Pro 2000 championship a couple of years ago. Had a good rookie season last year with Andretti. Thought about IndyCar a little bit, has tested the car, but knew I could use a little bit more experience. And a championship and a scholarship won't hurt either. By the way, for Andretti, championship number 6 at this level. Sam Schmidt 7, the most ever. Tasman won 4. Steve Horn is working with Callum Hedge. And HMD and Juncos and many others have won a couple. But Andretti can think about evening it up. It's the first one for Andretti since 21. And Louis Foster is the young man that did it. The Brit from the UK. Knew he was a champion, but now he has one more race win to celebrate.
Louis Foster climbing out of the car for the final time in the 2024 season, giving some big hugs to his team here at this point. It has been an absolutely dominant performance for Louis Foster, your 2024 Indy NXT champion. Got to thank the team that puts this together. Obviously, he has said on many, many occasions that it wouldn't be possible without them. Big high fives here from Rob Edwards as well of Andretti Global as he comes around. Louis, you had to fight for that a little bit at the end there with Yuvan coming up on you, but it looks like you had that in control. How was the race?
Yeah, it was a strange race, really. We were pinned for pretty much the entire race. Once I had a bit of a gap to Kayo and Yuvan behind, I was saving tires a bit. But Yuvan was really strong that race. I had to keep him behind at the end. I was struggling with the balance of the car, and I wasn't sure if we'd have it. But luckily, I was able to keep him at bay, and we finished off the year with a win.
Finishing off the year with a win gets you tied for 2nd all-time, and obviously the 2024 champion. We saw some celebratory donuts out there. I think the emotions maybe starting to get to you. And I've got to ask, can you say anything about 25 yet?
Not yet, but yeah, obviously it's great to do donuts. I would have loved to do them in Milwaukee, but maybe the car for one more weekend. But yeah, now we sent it, so yeah, it's good. If in doubt, go flat out. So.
Well, that's a message that we can all take to heart from your 2024 in Indy NXT Series champion.
It's always fun watching greatness, and Louis Foster was great this year.
He came on in the second half of the season, really strong momentum. Once he found his footing this year, he never looked back. Winning 10 races is very, very impressive.
Yeah, he's up there with Paul Tracy, getting closer. I think that's it. We're not going to see him in Indy NXT anymore, so that's where it's going to stop. But 8 on a season, 10 in his 2-year career, and this is how the final championship looks. James Earl picked up a couple of spots in the championship, and Yuvan Sunworthy moves up to 8th.
Really successful year for a lot of these drivers, building the foundation to come out next year and try and put a championship run together.
So now we look ahead to 2025, and it gets started on the streets of St. Petersburg the weekend of March 2nd. Schedule is very similar to what we've seen as far as the venues. Some of the dates moved around a little bit, so check your local listings for next year. And don't forget, we've got one more IndyCar race, and that championship is to be decided today. Will it be Alex Palou or Will Power? Either way, a 3-time champion is going to be crowned. Charlie, as always, thank you for a great season. It's been wonderful.
It has been a lot of fun being live on Peacock here with NBC Sports. Thanks for the help, Kevin.
Thank you to DJ Clark down on the pit lane. Georgia Henneberry filled in for a race. We've had Hinch up here too. The whole gang is together one more time on NBC Sports. Coming up at 3 o'clock today. 3:30 is the green flag. Peacock is your spot. Thanks to IMS Productions as well, NBC Sports, everyone for the great work in the truck, and congratulations to Louis Foster. I'm Kevin Lee. Thank you so much for joining us today from the Nashville Superspeedway.